What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video, another quick take. I got my main man, my partner, my brother here.
And if you don't know, now you know. The Prince of Fresh Air. Thanks for having me again, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So we've got an article here, courtesy of dailymail.com, which says Tyrese Gibson gets ordered by judge to pay back child support of nearly $250,000 to his ex, Samantha Lee. The article goes on to say Tyrese Gibson was ordered by a judge on Tuesday to pay his back child support of nearly $250,000 to his ex. The 44-year-old singer and actor, during a hearing at the Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, was also ordered to pay almost $400,000 to her attorneys, according to an article by TMZ. Gibson took to social media on Monday to blast Judge Kevin Farmer in a rambling selfie video in which he revealed that he unsuccessfully tried to have the judge removed from his family court case. It says he called for a peaceful protest in front of the courthouse in the video posted on Instagram for his roughly 16.6 million followers. But the protest over bias against fathers in the family court system apparently did not materialize. The Fast and Furious franchise star was ordered by Judge Kevin Farmer last August to pay $10,690 a month in child support to Samantha on behalf of their 4-year-old daughter, Saraya. Gibson refused to pay because he felt the judge, who publicly scolded him while he testified on the stand, was racist and biased against him. Farmer penalized Gibson for refusing to pay by holding him in contempt of court. Now, I just want to highlight the meaning of contempt, or to be held in contempt in court. And it says, considered by the court to have broken the law by disobeying or disrespecting the judge. Now, I'm going to continue. Now, it says he was ordered to pay $237,944 in back child support for Saraya, plus $399,000 for Samantha's attorney fees. Gibson also had to pay $17,000 for the special master who was appointed by the judge to handle disputes during the case. Samantha's attorney, Adam Glecklin, that Samantha wanted to just co-parent Saraya with Tyrese, follow the court's orders, and move ahead cordially. Farmer threatened to hold Gibson in contempt of court last August after Samantha's attorney noted that he made more than $2 million in 2018 after claiming to be in financial ruin at the time. Tyrese says, I don't do the CFO thing. Here's a question to you, smart person. Tyrese backtalk, according to TMZ. Farmer immediately cut him off and yelled at Gibson, you don't ask questions. That's not how this works. And I also just want to highlight something that I thought was kind of a little bit funny and interesting. And it says, leading up to today's hearing, Tyrese ripped Judge Kevin Farmer in a video, calling on people like civil rights attorney Ben Crump and Martin Luther King III to show up in court to support him in his fight against the judge. And it says they weren't there. This is very unfortunate. Bro, what do you think about this whole situation, man?
Man, this is a lot of packed, and we're gonna do a podcast episode about this because there's a lot more to the story than TMZ and everybody's letting on. So I actually had the chance last night to watch the video he talked about, and because I got a whiff of it, I saw a YouTube video about it. I was like, wait, what's going on? And I realized, Tyrese is a black man that many people has ridiculed over the last few years, and it seems like it's just a repeated pattern. So let me just give a little background to what he was talking about. So the child support and everything, one of his reasons he was fighting against it. Actually, let me do the fees, his ex-wife's attorney fees. So him and his ex-wife had a prenuptial agreement, and he went on about in the video talking about how that's very necessary, especially when you're a celebrity. But nonetheless, and their prenuptial agreement that they both signed when they got married said that nobody can argue for attorney's fees. That would be something that they would have to foot the bill for. So he was talking about how the judge was actually disregarding the prenuptial agreement, and how is it right that he's paying almost $400,000 in attorney's fees for her when it's already in their prenuptial agreement. So
Mm-hmm.
right there, the judge is already overstepping his boundaries. He's not,
Mm-hmm.
using the law. And he's also he went on to talk about how the judge, even though people might say, well, that's your ex-wife, why do you care? But he's saying how the judge in his private chambers to his attorneys, to him and her attorneys, that he called his ex-wife a B. And, he was just abusing his power. And he was saying a lot of racist comments to him, and how he's been screwing over fathers in the court system. So the most important thing, whether people believe that or not, I think the most important thing when he was talking about having political leaders, people in Congress come out, the media, he was telling him how to get credentials to show up and pray with him before the court hearing yesterday or Tuesday. It wasn't about him. It was about fathers and how fathers are treated like second class citizens in America, which is absolutely true. And I think for him, the whole purpose of this was, look, there's a lot of black men. This is just a lot of men in general being railroaded in family law courts. They're being treated like scum. One of the reasons why he was upset too, $237,000 of back child support. He was talking about how he has receipts. Him and his lawyers brung receipts of him actually giving her money before the court order was actually issued. But the problem was the judge got a little mad that he made the video and decided, you know what, screw you, I'm going to give you ordered back child support. So not only did he not count his child support he was already given to his ex-wife, he increased the amount. So you know what? It's one of those things where I've seen a lot of celebrities, NBA players, rappers, and a couple other athletes come out and talk about this very issue where, judges are being greedy because they get a cut off the child support, when you pay through court order child support.
Yeah, it's a business.
But is it right? Is it right that judges are treating men as second class citizens? He's not getting 50-50 custody that he's asking for. He's paying all these egregious amounts of child support. And the law is just not right. It needs to be updated that men are treated like scum.
Particularly black men in
Of
these
course.
situations. Yeah. So it's like, so not only are men already treated badly, in these, situations, but it goes double for black men. And I don't blame Tyrese at all for feeling like there's some sort of racial bias that is negatively being, inflicted, upon him in this situation, because egregious is the right word, to describe how much he has to pay, for his daughter and child support and all this stuff. And here's my thing, because you didn't mention this, but I read that he was already, he felt that paying his ex $2,200 for their daughter is a fair price. She's only 4 years old. Right. What kind of 4-year-old requires $10,000 a month for her necessities to survive? In what world does that even really make sense? What expenses does a 4-year-old incur every single day that would amount to $10,000 a month, 30 days? That does not make any sense. And to me, I honestly feel like his ex-wife is abusing the system. I honestly believe that's what she's doing, because there's no way I feel that she's entitled to $237,000 when he was already paying you this whole entire time. Not the amount that you wanted him to pay, because he was paying her $2,200 a month, like, 22, some odd dollars. But I think that that's fair. Right. And she's already making, according to Tyrese, well over $100,000. So why do you need more money from me? I honestly believe that she's trying to benefit off of Tyrese's lifestyle and income still. And you see this happen all the time. So women are like, yeah, well, I'm divorcing you or we're going our separate ways, but I still want to benefit from you however way I can. Remember when we talked about Tiger Woods? We didn't talk about it on YouTube, but we talked about it offline. And then you said that the woman that he was basically cutting loose is fighting to stay in his house.
Right.
So and they weren't even married. Women in the court of law will come up with any sort of argument that they can to try to still benefit from men who are wealthy. This is a fact. $399,000 for her attorney fees? That's crazy. Yeah. And here's my thing. Because when I was talking to my friend just before we started recording, he asked me, he said, did Tyrese do like his crying thing? Like everybody likes to laugh at Tyrese about that crying video. And it made me think, when Tyrese was crying in that video, what did he say? He said, I'm at $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me? And he was talking about a whole nother woman, a whole nother woman. Right. He's not even talking about this. We're not talking about the same ex-wife. This is somebody else that put him in that same situation. And if I'm not mistaken, he was with his ex-wife when that was happening. And she's doing the same thing that his other ex-wife did to him. She's doing it to him.
Right.
So my takeaway is that marriage is a scam. If you are a successful man, if you are a high earner, the worst thing that you can do is get married. Because in your marriage, and mind you, clearly a prenuptial agreement can be disregarded, as you just said. So meaning I could marry a woman and have her sign a prenuptial agreement stipulating that she cannot take advantage of certain things should we part ways legally. The judge, because he doesn't like me for whatever reason, probably because I'm black, can just ignore what I had agreed in writing with her. Marriage is a scam.
Oh, it is. Let me tell you something. There was a story that happened. I don't know if you ever caught wind of this. I was actually going to do a separate episode. I was going to talk about this. So there was this 23-year-old Nigerian football, aka soccer, because he plays in Europe. Very famous soccer player over in Europe. So he's 23. He married a 36-year-old woman. And his mother was smart. And this is the first time a young man, well, at least high profile young man, listened to his mother. So it was clear to his mother that she was marrying him for money. So they got married after, I think, a year dating. And she divorced him after 2 years. And she immediately, as soon as she called, she filed for divorce. She went straight for half his property, half his money. But luckily, his mother was smart. So when they went to court, he had no money. He had no assets. Why? Everything was in his mother's name. He didn't own the cars that, well, technically he did, but it wasn't in his name. His cars, his houses, his money, it was all in his mother's name. So when she went to file divorce, she didn't get nothing. Now that a lot of dudes in the system probably caught one of it, they may, try to find ways around it. But that was a clear win. And you know what? It's sad to say, but isn't it weird how someone can marry you for a year and still take half the stuff that you worked for? It's mind blowing. And that's the problem with, even outside of marriage, that's the problem with family court. Because it's clear as evident, like I said, I was listening to Breakfast Club talking about it this morning. And again, we're talking about black men, and I love Charlamagne and DJ Envy, but as black men, I actually want to ask you something about child support and all that stuff too. But they was making fun of him, like, and I hear other people in the comments, oh, he's always crying. What do you want from us, Tyreek? You a wimp, you a sim, you a loser. And I'm like, yo, it's just a black man being honest. I'm being railroaded. There's clearly evidence. There's clearly things that in the court system you have to follow. There's procedures. It's not a free reign. And one thing that stood out to me was when they was talking about how he was Tyrese lawyers actually found a motion. So they get to put the payments on stop until it resumes in court. But people was ridiculing him for standing up for black men. And it's clearly evident. Just because you have a child with somebody don't mean you owe everything you own to them. And then this notion that men need to just suck it up. Oh, that's the mother of your child. You telling me you can't pay this? Well, what is the purpose of a prenuptial agreement if the judge isn't going to honor it? The judge literally told him, after this prenuptial agreement, you're going to do what I tell you. Because he got mad that Tyrese made a video and called him a racist. And he called him out for calling his ex-wife a B word. Now, I don't know if all that is true. I wasn't in the private chambers. But even if that wasn't the case, even the judge didn't like it, that has no reason for a judge to say, you know what, screw you, I'm going to screw you over. That's no different than a judge who's treating black men in the 90s. You go to court, he might have said something a little disrespectful. All right, I'm going to give you 40 years. I mean, over for a 2-year probation case, but because you got in your feelings, you disregarded the law, and you get to do that. It's not right. And I actually stand with Tyrese. I think a lot of people look at black men when they're speaking up for themselves as this type of, he's a vigilante. He's an evil person. No, I think it's true. He's a celebrity who's able to talk about it. Johnny Depp was able to talk about it. And I think now that we're actually starting to get voices who aren't black to talk about this stuff, people are actually starting to listen. But it's no, men need to realize this, you need to start standing up for yourselves. I hear cases of dudes going to court and they laughing about their wife or girlfriend pulling out a gun on them, beating them up, and they laughing about it. But this is serious stuff here. It's no different than child support. It's no different than custody for your child. Why do men have to hunt down 50-50 custody? Why do you have to pay up for child custody. But when the roles are reversed, it's just given to the mothers. It's just given to the women in a relationship. So, I don't disagree with him. And I think a lot of people need to stop making a joke about it just because they're not in that situation. Me and you, 10 years, 15 years from now, we will probably be famous, make a lot of money. That could be us right there, being railroaded by the court just because we're successful black men. So.
Well, no, you said you were going to ask me something in reference to Charlemagne, or you said the
Oh,
Breakfast Club or something.
yeah, yeah. So it was a little hot topic that actually got people talking. So DJ Envy's wife was on the show, and she posed this question. She was like, if I guess she was trying to get them to agree with her when she was asking about this. So she was like, as men, do you think it's right that men are able to get child support, spousal support from a woman that they've married for many years when they get divorced? I'm not speculating on him and his wife's marriage because a lot of people's going that route. I'm not going to do that. But the question was, do you think, as men, how do you feel when you see other men getting spousal support or child support from the wife or the mother when they get divorced? Especially, I guess she was trying to hint at the case of Mary J. Blige and her ex-husband, some other cases where the woman was actually the highest earner in the family. They got divorced, and the man got spousal support and child support for the children. Um, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's unmanly? Men should feel bad when they get child support or spousal support after divorce.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's ever really called child support unless the man, for whatever reason, got 100% custody of the child, and the woman didn't. So let's call it spousal support. Now, I'll kind of piggyback off of something that I said when we talked about Amy Robach and TJ Holmes, and I was saying that if two people are going their separate ways, why complicate the separation process by making it about money in some way, shape, or form? And I think you said something that, like, Amy Robach's ex-husband, or if they're still married or divorced, whatever. But what was her ex-husband's name? What was his name?
Oh,
I forgot. His name was something, but you said
Andrew something.
yeah,
Andrew something.
Andrew Shue. Yeah, yeah. And you said that you're like, oh, he's gonna be getting, some of that severance package that she got from ABC or wherever it is, that she worked from. And I was like, if they're going to separate ways, why complicate it, especially if you're doing fine, financially? Like, what is the point? Like, I feel like a man wouldn't even be in a position where he'd be getting married to a woman if he wasn't financially stable. That's why you don't really hear that much about a man, receiving spousal support from a woman, when men don't get married to women unless they're doing well, if they have themselves together, money wise. So, I personally, like, if I have nothing to do with this woman, or if I want nothing to do with her, or if she wants nothing to do with me, why would I keep it going by wanting money from her and then going through the courts in order to get it? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, especially for somebody like Tyrese's ex-wife, I'm talking about Samantha Lee, which I was actually taking a look at her Instagram while you were talking. If she says, or if her attorney says that her objective is really just to follow, the court's orders, and to just co-parent her, the daughter that they share, and to just move forward cordially, then why are you asking for more money than you deserve? If you want nothing to do with this man, and based off of what Tyrese has said about her, like, I watched his interview with Sway, and he said that when she shows up to his house to drop off the daughter so he can spend time with her, he says the way that she does it is basically as if she's completely disassociated herself from the fact that she once lived in that house. She's completely disassociated the fact that she used to be married to this man, and that so many memories were made in that household. And then the way that she just shows up, she just, plops her daughter in the driveway with some fake old smile, and then she just drives off. If you're gonna absolve yourself, remove yourself. Stop asking me for money that you don't even need. You make over $100,000. Why do you need my money for?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, as men, I don't think any man is really going to feel comfortable receiving spousal support from a woman he's just recently divorced from. But roles reversed, women, require money from men. Fine. If it's for, the well-being of our child, then absolutely. But we're not married anymore. So I'm not going to give you a penny over, a penny in excess of what you actually need to take care of our daughter or son the way that he or she needs to be taken care of. So Not a penny more, not a penny less, because that money is going into her pocket, and then she will decide how to, disperse the funds that she was given. But to give her $10,000 for a 4-year-old, come on, man. Pampers don't cost that much.
Right.
Baby formula don't cost that much. You see what I'm saying? Danny's don't cost that goddamn much. Come on now. Let's be real. And you're right. This represents a bigger conversation and what goes on in family courts. So people wanting to make like jokes and memes and laughing at Tyrese. I mean, I get it. And kind of like what I said about Marcus Houston, Tyrese is one of those celebrities that he's an easy target, to be the butt of everybody's jokes. But at the same time, it's like, if this was happening to you, would you be laughing? Probably not. The last thing that we'd be doing is laughing in a situation like Tyrese's. So again, like me personally, I feel like women, they got to stop. And the courts really need to, really balance out. I'm not saying that the court all of a sudden needs to be a freaking patriarchy. I'm not saying that, but these things need to be balanced. So when you have, a prenuptial agreement that was notarized, it's in writing, that should be acknowledged and it should be worth something. A judge should not just be able to say, yeah, I don't care about that because I don't like you. I don't even like the idea of being held in contempt. Like, Tyrese is a grown-ass man that has more money than the damn judge. But the judge can hold you in contempt? Like, honestly, me personally, this don't even sound like a democracy. It don't. It's like you elect these people, or you put these people in charge for them to treat you like dirt. You put them on a pedestal for them to look down on you. Nah, it shouldn't be like that. The judge is there to mediate. The judge is not there to tell Tyrese when he should and shouldn't talk. Talking about, oh, you don't make the rules up in here, I'm going to hold you in contempt, considered by the court to have broken the law by disobeying or disrespecting the judge. So I could just say something you don't like, and then you could just say that I broke the law?
Yep.
Get out. That's what I'm saying. Get out of here. So Tyrese is not that far off by saying, yo, something is wrong here. Not only are they asking me for too much money, but this judge's personal feelings seems to take a front seat, take precedence over legal, actual court matters and proceedings. That's not right. So I understand, sometimes Tyrese has a way of saying things that, I do laugh at. I do think it's funny.
Of course.
But I can see a situation like this and kind of get past whatever humor people see in it and say, yo, what's really going on here? And it's not right. And again, this happens to men all the time. All the time. So, I really feel bad for Tyrese. But again, fortunately, it's not like he's somebody that's not successful. Shit. He's fast, was it Fast 10 or Fast 11?
Fast 11.
Fast 11 is coming out. Right? Well, is it Fast 11 really?
Yeah, is that
Roman numeral for 10 is X?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Fast 11. Hold
on, let me double check real quick.
Yeah, why you look?
Yeah, it is Fast 10. It is Fast 10.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fast. Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way the Roman numeral for freaking 11 is X. No, because it would be X1.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, so he just came out, with a new single. He has to, keep recording music because he's got expenses. But I feel bad that they're telling this man, because all of this shit costs money. It's not like lawyers work for free. As that lawyer is filing another motion, that means that's more money he has to keep paying that particular lawyer, in addition to his overhead, his life expenses that he has to cover. And then he's got his ex-wife, a woman that apparently said she used to love him, asking him for money that he should be keeping for himself, because the better that Tyrese is doing, the better their daughter will do. That is a fact. That is a fact. So if this man is saying, yo, I don't think I should be paying this woman $400,000. Let her pay her own attorney fees. He didn't hire her goddamn lawyer. She did. So if she can't freaking pay for the goddamn, lawyer fees. Well, she should have thought of that before she went ahead and hired the damn lawyer. Or she should have thought of that before she decided to divorce Ty goddamn Reese.
Right.
Facts.
And
Facts.
and that's exactly his argument. It's one of those unfortunate things, and that's why I said Tyrese he's a clown. He says some crazy things, but his message, especially when he was on Instagram Live talking about it, his message was, "Look, they're doing this to me. I have more money than the average person. I have more reach than the average person. I have a platform stronger than the average person. I can afford this. This is not something that I'm gonna lose sleep over. But there's a lot of men out there who don't have the time to keep taking off work, who has $50,000 just to retain a lawyer. There's not a lot of men who has those type of resources and time to keep fighting in court. And it's not right that people are getting railroaded in the court. Usually it's men that get railroaded. And I think, this is a prime example of, people taking above the law, taking hands into the law. Like DJ and Charlamagne said, they was laughing. They was like, well, this is what happens when you disrespect the judge. But that's illegal. That's illegal. Just because you disrespect somebody, it's crazy to me. I watch cases where, like, the dude that ran down like 2 Christmases ago or Thanksgivings, the dude that ran down a bunch of people in the parade with a truck, a Ford truck. When he was in court, Daryl something. When he was in court, the lawyer, the judge was giving him all types of time to keep interrupting, and this dude was mad, disrespectful, ruthless, objecting all the time when he shouldn't be, over talking the judge, and they was patient with him. I think he got hit with contempt once.
And this was a white guy.
This Daryl was a black dude, but this was a white woman. Now,
right, but you gotta understand, people pick and choose what to respond to, and that female judge is not the same as this guy, right. Judge Kevin Farmer or whatever his first name is, but this is what I'm saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you put somebody on a pedestal in a room of 30 people, and this person has abilities that everybody else does not have, the majority of people are going to abuse that. That is a fact. So to me, even like just the sound of, that's what you get for disrespecting a judge. Like, who is he? Who is he? This is another human being that bleeds just the same as everybody else. But yet, you get what I'm saying? Like that, your job is to judge. It is to mediate justly. That's why they call it justice. That's why they call it that. So, for Charlamagne and DJ Envy to like laugh, because here's my thing. And I like Charlamagne, he says a lot of things that I don't agree with everything he says, obviously, but there are certain things that he says, that resonates with me. I don't agree with everything that DJ Envy says, but again, I respect the both of them. People listen to the Breakfast Club and they hear those two laughing at Tyrese. Everybody else is going to follow suit. Not everybody is like me, like you, where everybody will be laughing, but the two of us will say, well, wait a minute, what are they really laughing at? And then we'll take a look at the situation and we could talk about it. The two of us didn't laugh not one time talking about this. But yet, for some reason, and DJ Envy and Charlamagne are way older than we are by like 20-something years. 15, right. 10 plus, 10, 15 years. But they don't have the wisdom to say, you know what? We should support Tyrese. Because Tyrese has talked on the Breakfast Club multiple times. So you would think that, these guys have shaken hands, have talked, on camera, off camera and stuff like that, that maybe they would say, you know what, this is a situation, but we'll send positive energy, Tyrese's way. They're not doing that because, again, it's cool to laugh at Tyrese, and I get it. There are certain things, the way that Tyrese has a way of explaining things that, again, can be humorous, especially when you couple that with the Django Unchained audition. When you listen to him talk, and that comes to mind, you're going to giggle a little bit. I get that. But this is something that could happen to any black man out here. And this is why it's very important to be very discriminatory against, when it comes to the woman that you choose to settle down with. Because the same woman that says she loves you will be the same woman 2 years down the line having you all up in court paying, asking for you to pay $10,000 a month for their child, $400,000 for her freaking back fees, for her attorneys and all that stuff, and then $237,000 in support. She feels like she's owed. Not that she's actually owed, but what she feels like she's owed. And this was communicated via her attorney to the judge via freaking, legal jargon and stuff like that, because there's loopholes for this type of shit.
Yeah.
Because it says, although the judge made a point of saying Tyrese has been paying child support all along, just not the $10,000 that the court ordered. Instead, he's been paying $2,200. Okay, so $2,236 a month. Okay, so that means, and this is the other thing too, like the way that women, and this is why I'm totally against marriage anyway, because you're basically involving the government in your personal marital business, like in your personal business, in your relationship. They don't need to be involved. The government does not need to be involved in my relationship with my woman, because the government doesn't and will never have my best interests. So why do I need them to acknowledge my goddamn relationship? You see what I'm saying? Because look at what they're doing to him now.
Right. And let me point something out. Judge Mathis, I've heard him chime in on many things, and one of the things I remember him saying was, he was saying young men, every man, especially black men, when it comes to having children with women, it's best to just go to the child office and just get yourself on child support. Why? Because at the end of the day, you can give women all the money that you have. And like I said, there's many celebrities coming out now doing interviews talking about this very same thing, about this issue, which is why a lot of celebrities, you wonder why their careers went the way they did. And they actually came out why they were chasing money for a certain reason. But he always said, you can give the mother of your child all the money that you make. And one day she could be mad at you. She could be upset. She could go to court and say, he haven't given me not a dollar in child support. It could be 10 years. You could have gave her $5,000 every month, 10 grand every month. And she could go to court and say, you know what? He hasn't really given me anything. I want child support. And the court will look at you and say, well, we didn't order this, so you're going to have to pay all that back. So, and there was actually an NBA player. I think it was I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, but he's been on DJ Vlad all the time, and he's talking about that very same issue where he was paying his ex-wife a steady amount every month for 10 years, and she got mad at him because he moved on. She was like, you know what, at the end of the day, he hasn't given me not a dollar. And he was fortunate enough to get a couple years shaved off, but they ordered him to pay back child support just because the court didn't order it. It's crazy that you can show up to court with receipts and evidence that you've been paying, and the court will say, nah, we're going to make an example out of you. It's crazy.
I don't care. Yep, they'll do that. And mind you, it's like a weapon that like all women have. Okay, you know what? If you're not going to behave the way that I want you to, I'm going to involve the courts. I'm going to involve the government. So that just tells me, do not involve the government, period, in my relationships, because the government will never look out for me as a black man. That is a fact. That is a fact. I don't know about white people. I don't know about other races, but I know black men out here, the government is not going to be looking out for you like that. That is a fact.
You know what?
So this whole thing, because someone said on Twitter, and this is what pissed me off. Some guy said, he said that don't get married. And then someone said, this girl, she came out and said, I'm going to read it. He said, don't get married. She said, choose better. He said, it's all a gamble. There is no better or no worse. And he's right. He's right. It's a gamble. And it's like, you will never really know somebody's true intentions until you introduce like a negative situation. You're going to see their reaction, because not everybody's like me, where it's like, oh, all right, you know what? If we go our separate ways, fine. I might not like it, but that gives both parties, an opportunity to be happy elsewhere. So if I can't be happy with her, that gives me the freedom to be happy elsewhere. Not everybody looks at it like that. People get resentful. They want money. They want to ruin your life. They want to do a whole bunch of things, and you end up in Tyrese's position. Dr. Dre, I always bring it back to that. Dr. Dre, his ex-wife wanted him to pay $2 million a month. A month. You don't. What do you call that? That is abuse of power. Because women, again, and sometimes, and I'm not going to say it's not right, but women are afforded certain luxuries in the court of law, or at least in family court, in these particular situations. Okay. And that Dr. Dre situation just shows that it could be as extreme gets. And there's no limit to how much that they can ask. And the court is just going to go with it because they just assume, oh, well, she's the mother, so she has to get all the money. You know what I'm saying? And really, and what I said earlier is pretty much what this situation boils down to, or what the judge should be saying is, the better that Tyrese is doing as an individual, the better their daughter is going to do. Because between him and the wife, he makes more money. So damaging him financially is going to ultimately damage freaking the daughter in some way, shape, or form, right or wrong.
Right.
Because $636,000 is a lot of money. We don't know how much money Tyrese is really bringing in. And this is an industry where, you got to create your own opportunity. And it's not like Tyrese is Usher or Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't know if he's going to be in another film after Fast 10. We don't know. So for her to try to take a big chunk out of his money, to me, I will never agree with that.
Every day that goes by, I'm seeing so many people getting divorced nowadays. It's getting ugly out here. And you know what? The court system doesn't favor men at all. And I think Tyrese is just another example that men really need to stop playing games to stand up for themselves. Because what happens? So many men laugh, joke, don't take it seriously. And a lot of men suffer in silence because they don't want to fight back. Now it's time to fight back. You're paying all this money. The woman can withhold child, face no consequences, yet you're still on the hook. It's mind blowing. I'll give you an example. Kanye West fans, and someone's arguing with DJ Vlad about this because he was trying to defend how Kim Kardashian was getting $200,000 a month from Kanye West, and someone made a good point. It was like, wait, she's worth more to him, if not more. Especially now, she's worth more to him.
Right.
Why is he paying her $200,000 a month for child support when she has more money than him?
She got more money than him. Exactly. So, as if she's hurting for money.
Exactly. And these are like, well, that's his child. He needs to do that. But it's like, that's not the point. The point is she makes more money than this man. And even on top of that, why doesn't that money go to a trust fund if you're going to do that? Why does that money have to go directly to her? And I think that's the problem with our court system. Everybody's getting a cut off the top. So $200,000 you might think is just going to the child, but the court's taking their fee. The judge is getting a little bit, the prosecutor is getting a little bit. Everybody's getting a little cut off the top. That's why it's very favorable for them to charge the most amount that they can for individuals because they want a piece of that pie. And ultimately, I feel like the family court, everything needs a rework because again, how many of these kids, 57 when we talked about him and his son, how many of these kids are growing up 18 years old and they're looking at, I thought I was supposed to have, $500,000 saved up. And it's not no money. Why? Because the mother or the dad spent it all. They didn't think about the best interest for them. They was thinking about that Lamborghini they always wanted, that nice mansion they wanted, but they didn't think about the actual kids. And that's the problem. Like you said, Tyrese's whole complaint is it's not about me, paying for my child. It's much more than that. But why is a 4-year-old getting the same amount of money I give my teenager who lives in a more expensive part of town in a whole nother state than a girl who grows up in a very moderate, not too expensive place? Mm-hmm. But it's because a lot of people look at celebrities. Tyrese is like, I'm being used as a scapegoat, as an example of what the system is like. They're going to charge you the most that they can. The
more money that you got is the more that they're going to ask you for.
Exactly. And they don't take in consideration that a lot of these entertainers, their careers, it's not a corporate job. You're not guaranteed $5 million. You're not LeBron James who signs a supermax $285 million contract for 5 years.
Right. Tyrese works for himself. Tyrese works for himself.
Exactly.
That's why he was like, yo, like, y'all got to make sure y'all get my single, y'all stream my single, because he was like, yo, he needs it. Mind you, don't think he probably wants to retire from music if he could? But he can't because he's got 2 ex-wives that are hawking him for money. When he was crying, it's like, yo, people laughing, but I'm like, yo, he was serious. And then back to that DJ Vlad thing, let me tell you something. Somebody like DJ Vlad cannot give you an honest assessment on a situation like that because he doesn't like Kanye West, clearly. Clearly, he doesn't like him that much. If to say, okay, his wife or his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, has way more money than Kanye West, why is she asking him for $200,000? He's like, oh, well, that's his daughter. That basically tells me that he can't give a sound assessment on a situation like that.
Right. And and that's the part. A lot of these people, like, I know me and you, we're not fathers, we're not husbands and stuff, but it's one of those things that it does impact us. And I think so many people look at this stuff and they think it's funny. But again, a lot of people don't get married with the hope that I'm going to get divorced 2 years later. You're successful. You spend 30, 40 years, working on your career. You find somebody you think you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. All of a sudden, bam, it's just a cash grab because 2 years later they filed a divorce, and now they want half of your money, half of the stuff you worked for that they wasn't there shooting in the gym with you for, but they're gonna command half and get half just
Hell
because.
no.
So
Hell no. Because he sorry, go on.
yeah, let me just say this to the point you was making about DJ when I asked you about DJ Envy and his wife asking that question. Look, I know a lot of people. I think our society is changing. I don't think a lot of people are gonna look at. I think there's still parts of our society that says, "Man, if you take money from a woman, you this and you're that, whatever." But truth be told, I don't see what's wrong with it because women have been doing it for many decades, many years, many centuries. So hey, if I'm married to Rihanna, she has enough worth way more than me. I need help raising a child. I got accustomed to flying private jets and stuff like that. Hey, I'm not saying I want it, but for that person, especially if you have 50-50 custody or whatever the case may be. I don't know how the custody agreements work in child support, but if I'm still taking care of my child, yeah, you better foot some of the bill. Now, some people say, "Nah, I don't want no help or whatever," but again, that's wishy-washy. I just don't feel like that. It's double standards. It's like, people allow one gender to do one and the other not to. You can't tell a man he's a deadbeat because he married Oprah Winfrey, who's worth billions of dollars. He works at McDonald's and he needs a little help. But if the roles reverse, you'd be like, "Go get that coin, girl." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
That's just our society. It's double standards, and that's why there's so many people who are resentful. There's not a lot of fathers in the lives of children. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of guys that probably understand what Tyrese is going for. They don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And they don't have a good relationship with their child because one, the mother was like, you know what, you missed a month of child support. You're not seeing your daughter. You're not listening to me. You're not seeing your daughter. And what the courts do? Well, she has custody. There's nothing we can
They'll,
do.
they'll just
So,
support. They'll just support her.
right.
They'll literally support her until you can prove them otherwise. And as a black man in this country, it is very hard to do that. It is very hard to prove the courts otherwise that you're not the bad guy in that type of situation. And like I said, all of this is about money. I feel like it's not about the well-being of the daughter, because if that's the case, it was already covered. It was already covered because Samantha Lee Gibson, she works. And then I see her, all half naked up on the internet, on Instagram lives with the game, the freaking rapper, the rapper, talking to
Right.
him about relationships and stuff like that. So come on, man. Like, y'all already know, I already know what it is. I already know what it is. The best way in a situation like that is to resolve it amicably amongst like you two. So it's like, if I have, God forbid, I ever got married, which would never happen, you know what I'm saying? And I firmly say these things in these videos because I watch my videos back, just in case I fall in love with somebody tomorrow and then they want to get married. I hear my past self saying, nah, bruh, don't do it. But let's say if that did happen and then we were to go our separate ways and we have a kid, the best thing is to solve everything between me and her. Because the minute you involve the courts is the minute things get messy, because the court does not care about me, which is why I would never involve the government in my personal relationships, because it's a recipe for disaster.
My final thing would be, people really need to take their time with jumping into these marriages, relationships, because, like I said, there's a lot of people out here with low self-esteem, low self-worth. Just they see somebody who looks so good that they just have to look. At the end of the day, marriage is a business, and nobody ever divorced about how much they love somebody.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. When you see people arguing in court, it's about money and finances.
Yep.
It's a business contract, and I think a lot of people need to really realistically. So I like someone on Twitter made a good point that a lot of people view prenups as an untrustworthy thing. Oh, you don't trust your partner. No, I think everybody needs to start doing that. Why? Because at the end of the day, you really show if someone really loves you, they sign it. If someone
Right, you
really
trust
loves
me
you,
enough. It's just like you trusted me enough to legally bind yourself to me, and you took my last name. Oh, but you
exactly.
can't trust me to sign this prenuptial agreement. Get out of here. Get out of here. If a woman puts up a fuss about that, then that just tells you that it's not about it's not about love at that point, and it's about something else.
Not
Red
yet.
flag. Red flag.
And you know what? The crazy part, this is not even just about high earners. You could be a guy who just makes $100,000, right? You really need to protect, and it's unfortunate you have to say that women too. I'm not saying women are only the only scavenger out here, but generally is usually them. But nonetheless, people really need to start looking at marriage like business. It's not no, you might feel in love today, but 2 years from now, you might be miserable, lonely. That's why a lot of, our grandparents in that generation, a lot of people were sticking together because they couldn't divorce. They didn't want to lose their money. They didn't want to have to pay anything. So now we live in a society where people just get married for the financial support. Most people, if they have the opportunity to quit a day job, they will. And what is the easiest way to do that? Oh, I found somebody who makes $5 million a year. I'll marry them for a year or two, and I could command half, which is
And
astronomically
try to shaft them
ridiculous.
for money. Try to
Right. And
shaft them for money. Because I got the definition of prenuptial agreement here. And it says a prenup or prenuptial agreement is a contract between two people that's created before they get married. It typically lists each person's assets, debts, and outlines how they'll be handled should the couple divorce later on. Prenups can be a valuable financial tool. While they may be difficult to think about while planning a wedding, prenups can provide comfort in knowing you'll be protected. And it says prenuptial agreements take a look at each person and catalogs their assets as well as any debts they may have. And it says personal property of value, art, jewelry, furniture, appliances, cars, etc., cash and bank accounts, education and retirement funds, investments like stocks and bonds, real estate, and other property. And it says, in addition to a list of assets, prenups include instructions for how they'll be allocated if the marriage ends. Some prenups allow for lifestyle clauses. These outline instructions for anything from what would happen in the case of infidelity all the way to custody arrangements for children and pets. So this is what I'm saying. This is all business. Because I honestly, like, let's say if a girl was like, well, oh, so you don't want to get married? I'm like, well, a marriage between me and you would really be a business decision. How would that benefit me in any way, shape, or form? And should I choose to engage in this essentially business arrangement, then I'm going to make sure that my business assets are protected, which is what I just mentioned above. It didn't say anything about emotions. Like you said earlier, people don't divorce about how much they loved each other. They don't discuss that. It's all a business. So that pretty much means if a woman wants to marry me, she wants to marry me for business reasons, for monetary reasons. That has nothing to do with love, because you don't need what does my assets have to do with loving me? You don't need to marry me to love me. You know what I'm saying? And for somebody like Tyrese anyway, for someone who's been through this 2 times, I hope he doesn't try this again with the black girlfriend, that he's with right now. The same girl that said that she was, more attracted to Paul Walker than him.
Man,
I really hope he doesn't do it again, because if I hear, Tyrese is engaged to his new girlfriend Zelly, I would be very disappointed. And you know what? I won't feel bad at that point. Right now, he has my sympathy, but moving forward, he does not, because I like Tyrese.
Right, and you know what? This is the problem, man. People in our relationships not giving them time to, and I see this all the time. People when first of all, when you have a new partner and you already have a business dealing with your ex-wife and you talking about children, first of all, your new partner shouldn't even have a discussion unless you're married to them. So that's one thing I never liked, how someone's new partner has a say in somebody else's affair. Now, I do agree that someone can support you, but look, if Tyrese ends up in this situation for a third time, I can't. I'm not going to feel bad for him because, like I said, you have to learn from these lessons. You think people who's been in this game before are doing the same thing. There's a reason why a lot of older people, they don't get married again after they go through this. Why? Because they see the hardships. They see what happens behind the scenes. Some people don't learn their lesson. They get caught up in somebody's new figure, a new body, and they don't think again, and they right back in that same situation. So Tyrese, any man really, I just say this I think people are really starting to see how business is really much. It's not about love; it's about an actual commitment. This is one of those things where if you get divorced, even 6 months later, she could take half it, which is crazy to say.
No, she can't, because no woman's gonna want to sign my prenuptial agreement. So we're never gonna get married, because she's signing a prenuptial agreement, and the stipulations within that prenuptial agreement, she's not going to want to sign it. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to want to sign it. So therefore, she's not going to want to marry me, because in order to marry me, you're going to have to sign a prenuptial agreement. And a lot of girls, you'd be surprised. You'll talk to girls on dating app. Like, I talked to this girl like last week or some shit, like just for shits and giggles. We talked on the phone, and she's like, like the Christian Catholic, what I'm saying, fake ass Jesus, stuff and all of that. And then she was already mentioning marriage. And I'm just
Ooh,
like, it's funny how girls, like, they'll meet a guy for the first time and then they already start talking about marriage. And I'm like, yo, what are you talking about right now?
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's because they know what it really is, but they try to sell it to you like it's some form of holy matrimony in a fairy tale. And again, I really, if it's this sort of fairy tale, then why do I constantly look through my phone and see all of these nightmares happening to other men on the news?
Right.
But I just wanted to end it off with saying that for people that are seeing these things, it's okay to laugh sometimes. I understand, humor, you got to be able to laugh, but at the same time, when you see people laughing at something, really take a look at what they're laughing at. And if you're going to laugh too, make sure you're laughing because it's truly funny and you're not laughing at somebody else's expense, or rather you're laughing at them because you're glad that it ain't you. The way that Charlemagne and DJ Envy are laughing, because they're only laughing because it's not happening to them. But as far as I know, the two of them are both married. So let's say
And
if DJ Envy freaking gets divorced tomorrow, you think he gonna be laughing when he got to talk about it on the Breakfast Club? No.
nope.
Wasn't he the same guy that said, "Oh, his wife be taking like girls trips and stuff, like the Jada Pinkett Smith movie?"
Yep.
All respect to Jada, I like Jada Pinkett Smith, but I'm just saying, like, we know what's implied when your girl says, "Oh yeah, me and the girls we're going to Miami for 2 weeks. I'll be back." What do you think is gonna happen? Sit down there. What do you think?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. But DJ Envy don't like when people laugh at him about that, does he? No, he don't. No, he don't.
You know
So
what?
just think about things critically for black men and black men only. Think about these situations critically, because we are the next generation of adults. Like we are, saying millennials, we are. And it's like the less that we criticize and how should I say, the less that we talk about the system and criticize it, the more that it's going to be the way that it is. And this is a system that a lot of men are going to be at the mercy of. You get what I'm saying? So the more that we talk about it, the more that maybe change will happen down the line. But it starts with awareness and conversations like this.
Yep. And let me just, before we wrap, I just want to say this again. Like I said, a lot of stuff we can laugh. Like I said, Tyrese is a funny dude. He has a way of making people laugh. But again, the message is important. It's time that we start taking this stuff seriously. We have to start really standing up. Like I said, we don't have children. We're not married. We have no skin in the game. It's not like we're gonna wake up tomorrow and be in the same situation. But however, for people who me and Dimitri are different people. There's a lot of people now age range who wanted to start getting married. They want to have that white picket fence family. There's something that realistically people don't want to talk about when it comes to marriage. They only want to have the wedding and I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this person. But like I said, there's a lot of people getting divorced real quick nowadays. A lot of marriages aren't lasting the way they used to. So this is a reality. When you get into a marriage, you better start talking about finances. You better start talking about prenuptial agreements and
Or
how
have it together.
exactly.
Have your shit together, so that way you're not going to want to risk it. See, men, they don't have, it's like they get married, then they get their shit together while they're with her, which is fine. A woman should be able to help you get to your maximum point. But then if she's there and supporting you along the way, then, I'm not even going to front like she wouldn't be entitled to some of that because she helped you with it. I don't have, the luxury of saying, "Oh, I had a girl that was supporting me on my come up as an actor, as a content creator." I can't say that. So I'm well within my right to feel the way that I feel and have these opinions because I've been improving over the years without any girl rubbing my back at the end of the day, watching my videos and commenting and stuff like that. So I can feel like this, you know what I'm saying? But I know what it really is. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Please be sure again to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.